Good evening and welcome to the Eastbourne Parkrun Lockdown Live series. My name's Ray Whitby and I'm the host of the YouTube running channel Aspiring Runners. And tonight it's cold, it's damp outside, so it's great to have you with us. And hopefully, if you're live on YouTube or Facebook, you're so welcome, you'll interact. So please do get busy with the comments. Just comment away as the thoughts arise or responding to what we're going to be talking about tonight. But to help us in the show, we've got a great guy coming back in. We have missed him, even though we had a good substitute for him. But it's the one, it's the only Simon Poppet Jones. Welcome, Simon. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Not too bad. Not too bad. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. Apart from a slight head cold. Well, it feels slight. It's not quite man flu, but crikey, it does feel like it today. It's just been pretty awful. Been out of running for too long now, which is getting me down a bit. But how about yourself? Things have happened.
Yeah, for those that have probably looked at Facebook and at the Eastbourne Parkrun, they will know that 11 days ago, my other half, Amy, gave birth to our little boy, Otto. So Otto is 11 days old, so hence why I wasn't around 2 weeks ago, because things were moving along swiftly last week. But yeah, I'm a dad again, and you know he's an absolute gem. He's brilliant.
Yes, and I just got to ask though, if you don't mind, Otto, bit of an unusual name. Is there some reason to that? Or?
Yeah, a few people have said that it's to do with my favourite Simpsons character, and if you know your Simpsons, then it's Otto the bus driver. But no, it's just a name that that Amy loved and has always loved. We had 2 or 3 names, and that was the name that we ended up gravitating towards more. And yeah, he's an Otto, so yeah, he's lovely.
Fantastic, and it's great to hear that both Amy and Otto are doing well, and that by the looks of it, you are surviving early sleeplessness. So everything seems to be heading in the right direction. Big bags under the eyes, and of course,
yeah, the makeup's really good at the moment.
And you don't even have the opportunity to go to caffeine storage. You can't even download all that coffee because you don't drink coffee or tea.
No,
so it's down to the soft drinks, is it? Lots of Red Bulls to keep going.
Well, no, I'm not a big fan of those. Lots of Pepsi Max or equivalent like that, when in the afternoons and things. But no, he's generally quite good throughout the night already. He wakes up probably once for a feed, and we need to change him and stuff. But he's absolutely brilliant. So I've now got 3 kids, one with now Amy. So very happy. Very, very happy. And I missed you guys 2 weeks ago, and I heard it was a fantastic show.
It was, and we'll get your stand-in, and it was a very good stand-in. Similar standards, yeah, very high, very high. And we'll get him on in just a moment. But what we want to do is just offer this icebreaker question out to the viewers, and just to say that when you're out running and you see another person, another runner coming in the opposite direction, what do? What is your go-to reaction? Do you engage? Do you wave? Do you nod? Do you acknowledge their presence? Maybe do something else? Or do you turn the other way and run like mad? Simon, what do you do when you see other runners out there? Are you a talker, or do you just get your head down, earphones in, and just march on, blinkered?
Well, it really depends on the situation. Now, normally I will always eye them up from a distance, see that they're running in my way, and if there's eye contact, I'll morning, or just put my hands up. If I've got my headphones in, I can't hear what they're saying, then for me it is more of a case of just a little hand wave. It's just a gesture of a courtesy gesture, because I've cycled lots in the past as well. When we cycle past people, it's just a little hand up as you're cycling past people to say hello. So for me, I will try and say good morning, good evening, have a good run or something like that. Or if I see someone on the way out and then on the way back again, there's definitely a hello again type thing and a little smile or a smirk. But it's quite difficult now in the night times or in the mornings, because it's very, very dark. So sometimes you can't see if they're looking at you or anything like that. So it's just a little courtesy hand up to say hello. Is the best way forward. But in the summer, when it's boiling hot, it's lovely to say, "Oh, hello, how are you?" type thing. I'm sure Mr. Thompson, probably sits down and has a picnic with people if he's running past, because that's the kind of guy Mike is. But I think it's courtesy just to say hello.
And I think direction is an important thing. I think if you are actually going past each other, then some acknowledgement is great. But I also think that if you're getting alongside them and they're roughly going at the same pace as you, somehow either you have to take that deliberate action to speed up, slow down, or you go with their pace and just try and get alongside them. And I think it is really important, especially to another runner. You don't know where they're at, what they're doing, but sometimes just that little acknowledgement can actually make their day. We just don't know, even in the little things that we do, these random acts of kindness, and it can just be that acknowledgement that you're alive and how you're doing, that could really lift somebody's spirit. And especially now as we're going into lockdown, part 2, this is where it's becoming most important. We're going to be out there. I think we still are allowed to get out there once a day to exercise, and it's going to be important then to try and get alongside and identify people that are vulnerable. And I think even Boris Johnson yesterday was saying that it's the family plus one, where you can at least meet up with one other person. And I think underneath all of that was reaching out for those that may be vulnerable and lonely. And it is especially important to pick them up and to get them alongside and make them feel as though they are not alone, but they are acknowledged in this world. So really, that's what we're going to be looking at tonight. And we're going to bring on a special guest, Duncan Taylor, who has set up a number of running groups over the past few years. He's a keen runner himself, and bring him on to talk about his experience. But really, we want to get onto the news. So let's get in our ambassador, parkrun, Mr. Ambassador. We've got Mike Thompson. Welcome, Mike.
Oh, hi. Good evening. Congratulations, Simon and Amy.
Thank you, Mike.
That's fantastic news, isn't it? And it's lots of goodwill from park runners, volunteers on the Facebook, wasn't there? So it's brilliant.
Yeah, that's very, very good. Yeah, it's lovely.
So the news. So what we got? Oh, we've got the sad news of Nobby Stiles and Sean Connery. Nobby Stiles was a great. I don't know if you know Nobby Stiles, but he was. He's like the Billy Bonds was for West Ham.
Billy.
He was the Toothless Wonder, wasn't he? The Toothless Wonder.
He was.
Yeah, wasn't he the guy dancing with the World Cup in '66?
Yeah, obviously, an England shirt and everything. So that was a bit sad. And Sean Connery was one of my favourite actors in all sorts, not just James Bond, but the the other films. The Untouchables, I think, was a brilliant film of his.
I think Sean Connery. I can't believe he was 90. To be honest, I never saw that. I thought he was 72 or something like that. But the best worst film I've ever seen him in was when he played King Richard in Robin Hood and Thieves. It was atrocious, but it was brilliant at the same time.
Yeah, and had his Scottish accent. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what's happening in parkrun? Well, I think this weekend there's a milestone. There's over 100 events that are running now, up and running this weekend. Wow. 100 events. So last Saturday, Japan and Western Australia restarted. New Zealand, they sort of joined the Australian states and territories. Falkland Islands, there's one there. So 8,500 runners are running. Oh, it breaks your heart, doesn't it, really, when you hear this? But and there were 900 volunteers, so they're delivering those 100 park runs now. And of those 900, it's I think it was the 100 were new volunteers. That was interesting. So brand new volunteers, first time volunteers.
Oh wow!
Yes, that was good. And this weekend, Guernsey.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. It was Guernsey, the Australian capital territory, whatever. I'm not sure what all about the territories, and the Isle of Man. So we've got Guernsey. That's probably our nearest. Or is Isle of Man near? I can't remember now.
Which is the Isle of Man.
Not that we should be going there. Well, we won't be allowed to anyway, will we? Really? But and next is the return of Namibia parkrun.
Fantastic.
The parkrun in Namibia. I should have known that, but I didn't. But that's the return next week. So that's brilliant. That'd be 100.
That's awesome.
Then, won't it? Yeah. So gradually they're coming back. It's just we've got to go through this process before. So.
And I think it's right. I think it is. It's difficult for everybody. It does feel like a distant memory, and a lot of people derived a lot of happiness out of the attendance of parkrun. And it is a tough situation to be in. But there are alternatives, aren't there? We've got the virtual, the not park runs, lots of other things that you should get involved in as a runner.
So there was a questions and answers webinar with Parkrun HQ last week, and we had to just bide our time, I think, and make the most of what we've got in terms of being able to run, and maybe some of the virtual events. And obviously, not Parkrun is quite a good one to record your times, really, because that's quite a good one. And they write their reports. So so I encourage everyone to sort of sign up to that. It's very easy. Just put your barcode in, put your time in. You don't have to upload Strava or anything. It's an honesty system, and it's very easy to do. So great.
Yeah.
Good. That's probably my news from Parkrun HQ at the moment.
Fantastic.
Just a quick question, Mike. With the not park runs, if it's an honesty, how many sub 15 5Ks have you done?
Oh, none. I did a downhill one. You can do downhill ones, though, can't you? But not 15.
Yeah, but free fall doesn't count. Sorry, Mike. No, free fall doesn't count.
From a helicopter.
Yes. Yeah, you were joining Baumgartner in his big hot air balloon, wasn't it? The red bull attempt for
Definitely.
That was good.
Yeah. On with the news. We have some insane things that are going on. This is over in the States. Courtney Walter wins the US Big's Backyard Ultra 2020. Crikey, that's a mouthful. But she ran 68 4.16 mile loops, which is just an insane. I mean, in your back garden, 68 times 4 miles. That's a big back garden. I know they do things bigger in the States, but that's ridiculous. How big's your garden, Simon?
It's definitely not 4.1 miles round. Probably Mr. Thompson's is in East Dean, knowing the size of Simon in East Dean.
No, I can just about do the bleep test up and down, 20 meters or so that way.
Yeah. They must have a designated route or something. Then I'm guessing.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's wow. I don't even think if I had ran from my house, there's a triangular route. That's 1.5 miles. So I'd have to run that almost 3 times just to get to one of those. So 68 loops, I'd have to do. Let's work out the calculations. About 200 loops to equal what's off just where I am. That is bizarre.
Yeah, it's just insane. But again, an incredible event now done virtually. And they were trying to say, I still don't quite get that. So maybe my brain's just left me. It just says runners complete this 4.1 mile loop every 60 minutes until one runner has done one more loop than anyone else. Now, I can't quite work out how that works. I mean, do they just keep going till they all fall over and there's only one person left, or what? No,
unless they do it so if it just gets to the point where everyone runs round and they just keep going, and either one drops off or they just keep going until they keep dropping off.
Maybe, but just incredible. So I think that tops up to just about 280 miles, which is just an insane amount of running. Now I know that you gentlemen, Simon, I know you've done some ultra running, haven't you? Mike?
No, marathons is my limit.
Just get up to the marathon distance.
I'm retired from marathons. Half marathons now are my sort of favourite.
Your go-to, yeah. That's great. Also up in the news, we've just got to say that some research has just come in. If you're worried about dementia, degenerative brain disease, then taking a cold dip every so often can actually be very beneficial to you. So this is research done out of Cambridge University, looking at the cold shock protein. Oh my goodness, I mean, there's all this money going into research, but this is some worthwhile stuff. So apparently they've done a lot of studies. I wonder if it is actually a hobby that's just got a little bit more interesting on the scientific front for running, or this is swimming. So they say if you jump into cold water, 12 to 13 degrees C, then apparently it can help prevent the onset of dementia. Now, is it a wives' tale? Is it like everything else of let's just drink bottles of wine and that'll help, offset, aging, etc., etc. But obviously they've been doing a lot of studies, and at Cambridge University, you tend to kind of think, well, maybe there's something to this. But yeah, thoughts, gentlemen. I mean, will I find you both jumping in the water, Mike? Even at your legacy years. Have you been doing that? You're going so.
I have done it. I have been known to jump into cold water, but probably for the New Year's dip or something. But usually for charity. But it's not But you don't stay in very long, do you? I'm not one of these all year round swimmers. Without the wetsuit. I have got a wetsuit as well, but it's the dip is quite painful, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think going back. Sorry, Simon.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I've got a friend of mine who is an ultra runner and has done several. He did one of the 100-mile Centurion races recently, and he's done them countless ultras across. He's done the marathon. Someone else who's done the marathon de Sable, and he takes a cold shower every morning. He puts it on the coldest, and he gets in and he spends a minimum of 5 minutes in there to try and have as long as possible with a cold shower. And he says that it helps him, generate, get the body up and motivated, metabolism going. He does it for lots of other health purposes, but obviously if it can help with dementia and with everything that's going on at the moment, fantastic. But yeah, he swears by it.
They do say having that cold shock as a bath or a shower, especially the ice bath after endurance events, after sporting events, it just allows all the lactic acid build up in your legs to just dissipate out of the muscles. So obviously if you're getting hot and your muscles are swelling, it contracts everything, prevents decent blood flow. So obviously he's got that benefit as well, but also have the mental benefits. Seems to be an incredible thing. And but it does take a lot. I mean, going into an ice bath, I've tried it a couple of times.
It's horrible.
My children squeals.
Also good for if you've got tired legs, just in the sea in the midwinter, standing up to your sort of knees or your thighs, without it going over the
soprano line.
Nether region.
Will be good. They generally recover really. It does help you recover very quickly. Well, it numbs it, but it also gives you that refreshing feel. I think
it's just the initial shock to get over.
Worth a try.
I have, every time I've run Brighton Marathon, I've always made sure that I go into the sea, and again up to probably waist level, just to sort the legs out. Always afterwards. It's just perfect. And normally when I've run it, it's been 30 degrees. So just jumping in afterwards has been an absolute lifesaver. So I think it definitely has some effects anyway.
So on with the news, Simon. I think this article is definitely up for you. Do you want to take this one away?
Yeah. So there was a woman in Australia. She's from Australia but lives in California. Her name's McKenna Myler. She did a mile run whilst 9 months pregnant, and her time for that mile was 5 minutes 25, which is unbelievable. She obviously sought medical advice, because I spoke to Amy about this, and Amy was like, she is bonkers. Why would you do that at that distance? But she obviously sought medical advice so that she could do that. But she she normally runs, her mile PB is 4:43, I believe, which is ridiculous anyway, which is absolutely outstanding. And she only managed 42 seconds slower whilst 9 months pregnant. How does that work?
Incredible. Some people just are that incredible, physically gifted. Is it genetics? It's just incredible. But mentally, I think you've got to be disciplined to be able to do that, especially 9 months pregnant, because you're all automatically thinking, protect the baby, protect yourself. I can't imagine it. And I don't know. It's easy to suddenly pull out your PB times and then think, oh my goodness. It just makes it more incredible, I think, that even 9 months pregnant, she manages to sprint a faster 1 kilometer time than I can. And I've obviously never been pregnant. Obviously, I can claim sympathy with my wife's pregnancies, but it's just incredible feats, human feats. It's just incredible human feats. But yes, just to re-emphasize, she did get 2 doctors' approval before ever attempting this.
And it just does show what the human body is capable of, and with extreme pressures. I know that before lockdown and throughout, the summer last year, we had a couple of early pregnant women that were running parkrun, and then they stopped as it became more uncomfortable and things like that. So there is obviously physical benefits, as long as you're not going out and trying to smash a sub 5:30 mile marathon, for that. So that's brilliant. I think that's absolutely brilliant.
Fantastic. And then just to finish off the news items, some crazy things happening around, and Mike obviously is very akin, in heart and in mind to this one. That Durham University students have actually run a marathon along a corridor, which sounds incredible. This is only a 15-meter long corridor, and they're trying to raise money for charity. Fantastic. Part of a group of 15 students, in isolation together. 2 of them have contracted COVID, so they're complete lockdown together as a big bubble. And they ran this corridor 2,800 times to reach that 26.2 miles, going up and down. Now, okay, all 3 of us have run marathons, and it is, it takes a lot out of us, a lot of effort in. And it's great to run in groups, great to run with other people, but running the same section, short section, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that takes some mental discipline.
Yeah, definitely. I've run marathons where there've been half marathon loops, so I've had to do 2 loops, and I've run marathons where it's 4 10k and a bit loops. And the 4 10k loops is quite you have to be mentally prepared for that, because you are doing the same course. But to run a 15-meter just doing that is just, that's like me running up and, well, Mike, you said your garden earlier,
up and down,
up and down your garden.
Yeah, but that's to exhaustion. But I'm just thinking of the that annual track marathon that they do down at the park. Is that 110?
106, yeah, something like 110 laps of the track.
That's a lot of laps. And how do you count that? Are you on your first one, or have you completed your first one? Second one.
And it's probably inside the the error bars that you would get for GPS accuracy, so you wouldn't be able to track it by GPS either. So yeah, somebody's got a clicker, and hopefully their thumbs don't get tired or something.
Yeah, elastic band or something. Yeah,
or just a tick at the end of the wall. Somebody's got to tally them up. Crazy. So I think it'd be great. See lots of developed ideas that you could go into the next lockdown with. And what's the craziest things that you can actually get up to in terms of running and running challenges for lockdown number 2? Certainly in the UK, be great to actually get your comments and thoughts and ideas on that particular one. I think in the rehearsal, though, Simon, you're quite inspired by the previous story that maybe we could just strap on, couple of kilograms around the belly, and then try and sprint as fast as we can. So we could try.
I don't need to strap on a couple of extra kilograms; they're already there. You don't have to worry about that. But yeah, no. I think if I know that there are. I've had you can buy these weights that you attach to your legs, and you can buy these weight belts and things like that. So having something like that and going out and training builds up endurance. We know that. So once you take it off, you then potentially become a quicker runner off the back of that. I think we've discussed that before. So it'd be lovely to try and stick an extra couple of stone as a pregnant belly on myself. I think I'm just looking down now. It definitely looks a bit pregnant at the moment. I think I'm about 6 months gone at the moment. So.
Oh, fantastic. And I think it brings us on quite nicely to our special guest tonight, Duncan Taylor, who I've run with many times, a very good friend of mine. And he has set up a number of couch to 5K groups, 5K to 10K groups. And he's run half marathons and marathons. He was actually training for his a 50K, so it was an ultra run for his 50th birthday. But unfortunately, through illness, through injury to start with, he didn't quite make it. And then going through retraining for that after the injury and building back up, he actually suffered a heart attack on a 10K run we did with a friend. So the 3 of us went out for a run. It was a beautiful day. Did the seafront, finished off. We all looked a little bit tired. It was hot. And then he found out afterwards he had a mild heart attack, if you never call them mild. So he now finds himself actually having to do the couch to 5K program. So how he's dealing with that mentally, I guess we'll only find out. So big build up for Duncan. Welcome, Duncan.
Hey
guys. Hi, Duncan.
Hi, Duncan.
Lovely to see you guys. And congratulations to you as well, Simon.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you. Appreciated. Thank you.
Fantastic.
So, Duncan, you didn't mind me talking about the heart attack that you had, and you're now in the recovery phase. You've made it so far, and your progress has actually been rapid. And the people down at DGH, fantastic job that they're doing all year round, especially through the pandemic. But what they've said about your progress has been quite remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, they've been amazing. I mean, obviously, it has. I'm not going to lie. It's been a struggle, you know, to start with, to be told that you know, you're basically allowed to walk for a maximum of 5 minutes when, you know, you're a marathon runner, is a bit hard pill to swallow. But at the same time, you know, you just kind of got to get, you know, got to go for it, basically, and that's what I've done. I suppose I put my determination I have for running into my recovery, and yeah, the guys at DGH have been fantastic and really encouraging, and it's been lovely as well to be part of a community of runners as well that have been there for me. You know, so where I've helped runners before, you know, through the Counter 5K groups and such. When I've needed them, they've been there for me, which has been awesome and really encouraging for me.
Awesome.
Well
Just shows how the community of, you know, the running community, you know, sticks together in times of, you know, hard times. You know, it's stuck together throughout COVID, and obviously, Duncan, it's helped you massively with your recovery. So, you know, well done. That's brilliant news, mate. Brilliant news.
Thanks, mate. Thanks so much. I was going to just chip in as well. I was listening earlier, you know, to what you were saying about seeing other runners when you're out on a run. And one of the things that's been really strange for me during my recovery is, obviously, I've been out walking initially, and, you know, twice a day, doing one in the morning and one in the evening. And so effectively, I'm an undercover runner, and I'll see runners coming towards me. And I'll be like, go for it, mate. And they must look at me really strangely, you know, because I'm not in my running gear. And I'm like, you know, I'm suddenly realizing, oh no, they probably think I'm a right weirdo. But anyway, la-di-da.
But there are rules of etiquette out there. So when I used to ride a motorbike, you would always acknowledge another motorbike by nodding the helmet when you're passing in the other direction. But if you saw a moped or one with a learner plate on, so there'd be 50 or under 50 ccc, you would never acknowledge their presence. They were a different class. They were beneath you. So yeah,
I'm sure. Didn't you say you used to do a different hand gesture towards the mopeds and the learners? Was
I'm a good boy. Always happy.
Yeah.
Always will be.
Yeah, but you weren't nodding. You were going, oh, welcome. I think it was the same with what I just said earlier about the going for a bike ride on a pedal bike. So, you know, you'd go past, you'd either nod or you'd stick your hand up. So, Fortunately, there's no different moped. If it was an electric bike, I'd probably give them a hand gesture, because that's just cheating.
Yeah. Now, Duncan, I understand that you're on week 6, and this is actually one of the difficult weeks for many Couch to 5K runners. Now, we've got some advice for you. Sorry, teaching you how to suck eggs, of course, but you are going into a time now where you're trying to do the 20 minutes without stopping. And how do you feel in yourself as well? Because obviously the recovery from a heart attack, it can have all sorts of effects on the body as well as mentally. So how are you finding it right now going into week 6?
I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, again, you know, let's be real. It's been interesting. You know, there've been times when physically I've not felt as strong as I'd like. The DGH as well, understandably, have put a limit on what they want me to do, which is probably really sensible. Well, definitely sensible. So they've said to me that I can basically run at 70% of you know, my heart rate, and so I'm constantly looking at my watch and making sure that I'm not going over 137, which is my 70%. But that at times it feels like you're running with the brakes on. You know, as somebody that likes to run fast, you know, that enjoys running fast, it kind of feels a little, it's just tough sometimes. But at the end of the day, I hope, you know, and I'm told actually that this is just for a period. You know, I've got to just work. I've got to be patient, and actually, I think I should just be grateful that I'm running at all. You know, so yeah, I'm really excited about going into week 6 to actually, obviously, when you kind of get to this point as well, with the way, you know, for anyone that maybe doesn't understand or hasn't heard about Couch to 5K and how it works. You know, you literally sort of start off walking and then running and walking and running and walking and running. You know, you have several sessions like that. I mean, literally week 1, run 1, you run for 1 minute, you know, that's how it sort of starts. But now for me to get to the point where tomorrow, in fact, I'm going to be doing week 5, run 3. I'm going to be running for 20 minutes solid. But to not have any kind of, you know, walking kind of in the middle of it is for me just fantastic, because it just means I can kind of get into the flow and enjoy it, you know. So I'm looking forward to it.
And you spoke about having other people there to, you know, that you've been encouraging, and now they're encouraging you. I think there's a lot to say in that there are times where we do need to lift each other up. I think as Christians, as runners, we're very sociable as a community, and we do need to eventually reach out to each other to help support each other in these times. And I think then it becomes invaluable to try and take lessons from, you know, things like the parkrun community and how they have truly helped people, you know, throughout, you know, the country and now worldwide. Seems to be a great endeavor to think about how we can, especially through lockdown, you know, form groups and reach out to other people. So just wondering, Duncan, could you just tell us about, you know, why you got into setting up a Couch to 5K group? You know, what was the rationale? And just give us some pointers, please.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. I mean, basically, I love running. You know, that's how it is. I absolutely love it. But I guess as well, part of my DNA, I suppose, is I love to help people. And so, you know, I kind of discovered this Couch to 5K app, which we use. I think it's called 1U. It's done by the NHS. So it's you know, the official Couch to 5K app, and it's so easy to follow. And so, yeah, my heart, I guess, really from day one and continues to this day, is just to help people to reach their goals. And actually, together we're stronger. You know, people can do Couch to 5 on their own. It is possible, but you know, if we can meet up, you know, even, you know, with the lockdown, I think we're able to run with one other person. You know, this lockdown that we're about to go into, and you know, if we can meet up with one other person, that just gives us a little bit of accountability, so that maybe you've had a rubbish day at work or whatever. And you really don't feel like it, maybe the weather's bad, whatever, you know, all sorts of excuses that we can give to ourselves. But if you've said to somebody else that you're going to do it, you're much more likely to do it, and you encourage one another on. And for me, that's what Couch to 5 is all about. It's about helping people and encouraging people, and supporting them reach their goals.
I agree.
Yeah, massively. And I think what you said, Duncan, you said about you said about the accountability with that running with one other person. And I, you know, it's for me where, you know, we've talked mental health before, and, you know, I've suffered with mental health issues in the past. And I find that when I'm feeling particularly low, if I've arranged to run with someone else, I am 99.9% more likely to go for that run, because I don't want to let them down. So it's good to go, you know, unless I'm injured or I'm stuck in traffic, you know, I won't necessarily normally cancel. So having that accountability, which I know we've discussed on this show before, is paramount. And, you know, we've all, you know, all 4 of us here have helped people with running. You know, Mike, with you being a qualified coach, did you mention the other day? I believe you said to us before.
Yeah, I've got some coaching qualifications for leadership in running, fitness, and which gives you a public liability. You know, that's the main thing, really. And one of I think I would totally agree with Duncan. Really, they give you sort of the confidence and a structure to help other runners, or whether they're, you know, Couch to 5Kers, or whether they're existing runners that want to do a marathon, or so it's about knowing, you know, getting a group together that have got some sort of goal, like say Couch to 5K or marathon, and just helping, giving a bit of structure in terms of like a training plan. But it's probably less about, it's 20% technical and 80% sort of motivational, inspirational, or whatever it is. It's trying to impart that enthusiasm and a lot of, you know, building up confidence and the you know, sort of the partly self-esteem. Actually, sometimes they're you know, a lot of people are very, well, some people are quite negative about themselves, and it's a negative framework. So trying to flip that onto a positive, agreeing goals, you know, achievable goals, you know, along the way up to your final, you know, doing the marathon. I know a group, a local running group, where I just helped another running club. And 5 of them did the, it was the Shufflers, I think. They did the Beachhead Marathon, you know.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah.
so brilliant, you know, that was brilliant. That was, you know, the Seafront Shufflers. And I remember seeing the, I went to Duncan's, I think it was, yeah, we went down to parkrun on a non-parkrun day, didn't we? An evening.
That's right.
We got the gear out, you know, and simulated a proper parkrun for the Couch to 5Ks, and there was such a lovely bunch of people, and they all achieved it, didn't they? And that was a great. I thought that was a great night, wasn't it, Duncan? I think. So.
Oh, it was fantastic, Mike. You know, to see them all achieve their goals, you know, was fantastic. You know, and I know I thanked you at the time, but it's lovely to be able to thank you again. You know, on something like this, it meant the world to them. You know, to have the parkrun, you know, signage and things like that. You know, was just fantastic. It kind of made it really authentic for them, and they felt like they had done parkrun, which was what it was all about. So thanks again, man. That was.
Can't wait for the proper parkrun as well.
That's hopefully
right. I'd just like to. Are they all running still? Are they?
Not all of them. Not all of them. I know. It's funny enough. I was talking to one this morning. And I think he kind of did it for a dare, actually. I think there were people in his family, I think, that sort of said, "Oh, come on, you do it." And I think some people thought he'd never do it, and he did it, and you know, good for him. So yeah.
So I have
the majority are.
Sorry, Duncan, I need to talk over you. I'd just say I've got a question for you and also for Mike. And I know from your different backgrounds of the groups that you deal with, you probably get 2 different answers. So the question to start with you, Duncan, if I may, is that obviously you've got several challenges when you're trying to establish a group for running. The first one is, how do you find them? How do you get them? And the second question, or the second part of the challenge is, how do you keep them committed into that group atmosphere? What kind of advice have you got?
So yeah, mine's probably, as far as to answer your question as how do you get them, mine's probably a little bit different from some in that, mine has been pretty church based. So, that's kind of been quite easy, just to put the word out there, and people have spoken, not just people at church, but people outside as well, kind of put the word out, this mad guy is going to be running this thing. Do you fancy it, kind of thing? And he seems all right, do you want to give it a go? So that's kind of how we've got them. For me, definitely the success story of all the groups that we've done has been a WhatsApp group. So we've created for all of them, a WhatsApp group, and banter is absolutely encouraged. But we've also, though, we've been really, really careful to make sure that, because obviously sense of humor, people can kind of, that they can, in order to make a joke, can sometimes put people down, and that's not part of what we do. It's all about encouragement, and it's all about support and supporting one another. When I think back to, we did one during lockdown, where literally we started on Zoom. So the idea was that we meet up on Zoom, a little bit like what we're doing now. And we just say hi to everyone, see everybody, all of the different pictures on the screen. And what was great as well was you could see their names against their pictures. And so you kind of felt like you were beginning to get to know them, even though you actually never physically met them. And we'd encourage them, and say, have a great run, everybody. And they'd all go out and they'd do their runs. And then we'd come back half an hour or so later and have a second Zoom. And everybody looked a bit windswept and, everything. Yeah, and we'd find out, how did it go? How was it? And then of course, we'd only do that once a week, the actual Zoom thing. But then subsequently, the other two, we'd basically say, if you're going out, let us know. And then everybody then would chip in, so somebody would say, I'm heading out. And everyone would say, have a great run and let us know how you got on. And that for me is the secret. That's completely the secret to it. It's all about encouragement and supporting one another. And so what I'm doing as the leader effectively is just facilitating. Everybody else is actually, supporting one another. It's not just me. So yeah, that's my little bit really.
Duncan, I have sorry guys, I have to agree with WhatsApp groups or group chats as such, because I've probably got, there's obviously the Eastbourne Parkrun Volunteers group chat that's there, but I've probably got 3 or 4 other group chats which are running related with different people that I run with or have run with, or people that just ask for general tips and hints and things like that, and it is all about the support within there. I've got a family one where there's members of my family and Amy's family that are all running, and we were trying to meet up in groups of 6, obviously completely COVID secure, never more than 6, never ever more than 6, honestly never more than 6, but honestly never more than 6, I can guarantee.
It's just you and on it.
There might have been other members of the family out there, but we've never more than 6. Yeah, 6. But no. But what we found is that now that because we're going into lockdown again, we've had a little conversation on there about who's going out. But someone put on there that they did the first ever 10K that they've ever done, and what time they did it in, and everyone was, well done, brilliant, congratulations, and it was. The phone was going ping, 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 and it's such a motivational thing to hear someone doing something for the first time, so it's all about that. I've got one of my chats is called Parkrun and Football, because there's people that I go and watch football with and run parkrun with within this group. And one of them's been injured for quite a long time, and they keep asking for advice and bits and pieces. And I've put him in the direction of certain things, and he always wants to go out and run the quickest run he's ever done. And it's like, no, sometimes you've got to step back. So as well as being motivational, you can obviously impart some knowledge to other runners that way as well. So I think those kind of group chats, especially in current climate where we're not going to be able to meet up again, is definitely a key thing at the moment.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No, sorry for cutting over you. Mike, I mean, similar question of, how do you find the people, I guess, as part of your running club that you coach for, there's a natural entry point. How do you keep them coming back?
I think it's trying to inject a bit of fun, and that I'm also I'm coaching 12 to 15-year-olds for Eastbourne Rovers. We're a bit short, and that's they're of mixed ability, so it's a group. So some are you can see even from a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, the different abilities they've got in terms of speed, endurance, and so it's knowing those people. Some are a bit less confident than others. So it is about knowing that group of young people on the track, and I think most of them like the short stuff, and we do things like the technical things like this, the running drills, which they seem to like, and then I sort of sneak in a bit of intervals and pyramids and.
Oh God, I hate them.
You put cones out and you do relays, so they don't really. So they're running further than they think.
Yeah.
So it could be lampposts, couldn't it, for the couch to 5Ks or something like that. So we used cones, but I also have to inject a bit of variety, like a bit of long jump. So, long jump requires speed, so that's brilliant. Yeah. We see how far we can jump, and we got turbo javelins, and we throw those, and we got rubber. What are those shot puts? So I'm having to learn the techniques as well, but it all actually helps running, funnily enough. But in terms of and then I'm a sort of a road runner, cross country runner myself, and coaching adults. It's not dissimilar coaching adults to younger kids as well. You know, you have your sort of how to keep people on board and make it interesting and fun, and it's sometimes you have to there's code of conduct things and trying to like persuade people to behave something a bit, don't you? All those things really. So you become a bit of a manager as well as a leader and as well as the technical stuff. So so I do actually. I mean, I really enjoy the sense of achievement from those kids. Equates to the adults as well, or the coming through and we. I suppose athletics is probably more about being able to compete. In competitions. It's not always necessarily about running. I think you can run for its own enjoyment as well. Well, you can for athletics as well, but at the end of the day, we try and encourage people into the leagues and competing against other clubs. So that's another element, which can, if you do it sensibly, can be real fun, and it gets the best. Nothing like a good race as well to get like the best out of performance, really, as well.
But healthy competition.
It's a run, not a race.
I know. I mean, we're talking about parkrun. Yeah, and I put my parkrun hat on when it's parkrun, but we're still, you've got your people who like to help you run faster, don't you?
And it does happen, and I think it's well. Hopefully, it's always in good spirits as well. But I remember a number of times when you get within, say, 500 meters from the finish line of the park run, and you start overtaking people. I tend to run quite sedate up to a point, and then sprint out the last few hundred meters. And when you start overtaking people, people looking over the shoulder, going, "No, I've got to fit," and they start speeding up. So you naturally get into competitiveness. But we've always managed to shake hands afterwards. Not that we can do that now anymore. But yeah, as long as it's done in the right spirit. I've heard of other park runs where it's not done in the right spirit, and it's actually ended up in fisticuffs. But we don't do that in Eastbourne. We're a bunch of runners.
But it is about keeping it inclusive. So you've got varied abilities. It's making sure that no one gets left behind and everyone supports one another. Even if you need to double back, loops and things. For the longer runs that we do, it's encourage it, and we call them social runs, don't we? As well, on the Sunday long runs are generally the social runs, and
I would say I'm quite a solo runner. I was a solo cyclist, runner, and so running with groups, running with other people is very unnatural. Maybe one other person, so I'm there just to run with said person. But Duncan actually invited me to be an extra runner, just a chaperone almost, with the 5K to 10K group, and so I went out there and I was quite surprised. I thought, okay, there's going to be a block of people. We all run together and we're doing whatever the thing says. But of course, everybody's at a different pace and everybody has a different attitude. So I was asked to then run with the very last runner, and that was absolutely fine. Wonderful lass, except that she had it in her mind that she was holding me up. So I was there to chaperone her, and she was then saying, no, just go ahead. It's like, no, but I'm here to run with you. I want to encourage you. And it's very, very difficult then. So she's trying to push me ahead. I'm like, well, I could run at any pace. Well, it's not any pace, but I could run at my pace any time of the week that I want. But I'm here for you. It's just trying to break that ice almost. So it's like, okay, I became a bit of a camel or a pack horse. It was just let me grab your cagoule, let me grab your water bottle, let me grab this, let me grab that. So I was just laying down and keeping up with her just so that she could just finish that set. And I think afterwards she appreciated the effort that was put in, but it was an interesting battle. Of course, Duncan at that time, he was at the head of the pack trying to keep up with the faster runners. And we had just spread out along the seafront by a few miles. But at the end of the day, we all came back together. We all went down the pub afterwards and had hot chocolate. It was a great event. And I think it's just something about then, the quality of the people that are involved in the leaders and in trying to run that event. I mean, you must have a lot of energy, not just to do the running, but to just keep everybody enthusiastic and to keep people coming along. Plus, also, you must have some thick skin as well. So if nobody turns up, and we did have that once, didn't we, Duncan? Nobody turned up. it's that thing of not taking it personally, but still have the enthusiasm and encouragement to keep going. So, Duncan, what other things does a leader need to keep these things going?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a sense of humour. Thick skin. They definitely need to be an encourager as well. I think, in order to be able to help people reach their goals. Great question. But yeah, that's the majority of it, really. I think as well, there's a certain element of being adaptable. So, like you talked about how we were sort of stretching out. So, there are some people that surprise you. I remember one time, we started off and we were doing the conventional 5-minute warm-up walk. And one of, we got to the end of it and I'm like, right, okay, we're in a bit, guys, we're going to head off and start our run. And I went 3, 2, 1, go. And one of the guys literally, I kid you not, sprinted off. And although we'd had a warm-up walk, I wasn't ready for it, and I actually pulled a muscle that day because I sprinted after him and I wasn't ready for that, so yeah, you have to have a little bit of adaptability and kind of, at times be able to run, with the fast ones and the medium ones and the slow ones and just be there.
Yeah, and remember, it's also fun trying to get involved in that of the chaperone and going from the back of the pack to the front of the pack. So actually, I did get the workout as well because they were kilometers ahead and somehow I managed to pace without blowing up to try to go through the pack, say hi to everybody, make sure everybody's okay, to get to the front of the field and then come back. But yeah, and then you're talking about sense of humour, but it's difficult when you haven't got one like me.
You've got one, Ray.
So I have to rely on my son. My son came up with one the other day. I think he found it and he said, okay, imagine this, me. I open the door to step outside to get some fresh air. Everyone else on the plane, he's got it in spades. I'm just terrible.
Oh no.
It's the way you tell them. It's the delivery, isn't it? It's the delivery, and that's why I'm not as wealthy as Michael McIntyre because I cannot deliver them, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I'm rubbish at jokes.
But you say you're rubbish at jokes, but you're a very, very funny man, Mike. It's very nice. There's been times where I've seen you at parkrun in your morph suits, Christmas morph suit, or it was the Dickie bow tie morph suit. I think you had on one. So and you've turned up in fancy dress. So I think part of the enjoyment of parkrun is that we're there to encourage everyone, and it's there to encourage whether it be the person who comes. The person who is the quickest, I don't want to say that comes first, the person who comes the quickest, or the person that completes the 5K in the slowest time. That's why we have the tail walkers and the pacer days. I think we've all paced, if I remember correctly. And the sense of achievement of knowing that there are people and you're there encouraging that person on your shoulder just to keep going. We're on pace. We've got 2K to go. It's fantastic. And I think, yes, we give those people the sense of achievement and the support going through, but actually I find my enjoyment of running now is through the sense of helping others. I do get such a bigger buzz from that now because I've run marathons, I've run an ultra marathon, I've done a sub that for different races. I've got nothing left to prove to myself, so imparting that knowledge and helping others along the way is definitely key for me these days. And it's the I want to call it the customer satisfaction. Getting the job satisfaction out of that is far outweighs the joy of going out and running a sub 20 5K or a sub 145 half marathon. So it's definitely the sense of achievement. I think we all need to take and note of that, and anyone else that's out there that's helping others. Not Duncan. I take my hat off to you every time I speak to Ray. He says Duncan's done this and Duncan's done that, and just unbelievable that you off your own back set this up to help others. And I've loved it, Simon. I mean,
I would actually go as far as to say that although I've done, I've got a lot of medals now, I've done a few things. I would actually go as far as to say that probably my running highlight was last Christmas Day, when one of our Couch to 5K group had not managed to complete the 5K the week before. And so we went on Christmas Day to parkrun, and we did her 5K at parkrun on Christmas Day. And that honestly, my family were like, why are you getting up early and going to parkrun on Christmas? It's Christmas Day. What, are you mad? Well, clearly I am. But it was amazing.
It's a parkrun day. Christmas Day is a parkrun day.
Completely. And the sense of achievement that I felt for her, you get such a buzz. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I will echo that, because one of my greatest, again, I've run marathon, done countless medals, but for me, one of my greatest achievements when running was helping someone do a sub 2 hour half marathon for the first time ever. And watching her cross the line, she didn't know what time she had. She put her watch in her back pocket. I paced everything and she beat her PB by 10 minutes. And to see the look on her face when I told her what she'd done, she was in floods of tears, but all happy tears. And she was like, I could never have done that without you. She bought me a little trophy that said best coach in the world on it. And it was just outweighs any medal I've ever got in my eyes. Mate. It's just brilliant, that is.
I think that's what it's about. Actually, I think Duncan hit it's about helping others achieve. A good coach at sort of our level. I'm not talking about these professional coaches that might, up in the elite sports, but ones that the achievement you get, the self-satisfaction from someone else achieving their goals is it's the same thing with volunteering. You do it for the impact on others, don't you, really, as well, anything like that. And I think that is a prime motivator, really.
I think you touched on a point there, Mike, as well, to say that actually what defines a really great coach is not necessarily getting the PBs and winning the races, although it is a means to an end, and when you're getting up to the professional level. But I think it's someone who can encourage not only to get the best out of the individual at that time, it's also to give them the encouragement to keep on going and keep in the enjoyment factor throughout it all. And come across a number of different other runners in the YouTube community. One in particular who could have run for England, but he got to the age of 18 and gave it up. He was just bored of it and sick of it, sick of training. He's now 45, 46 years old, and he's trying to get back into it. And he probably will run for Team GB in his age category. But he just says, I wish I had that motivation. I wish I had that encouragement, because I had the ability, but I just didn't want to put it there. I had energy for other things. So I think what makes a great coach, in my mind, is somebody that can get alongside us, an individual, and inspire them, to keep going, not just in that race, not just on that day, but to keep coming back day after day, so that they don't give it up. They don't lose that sense of enjoyment of running.
And I think it's about one of the, in the manuals, which I was trying to avoid, but it's about encouraging people to not overtrain. So overtrain and do things which you can lose the enjoyment if you overtrain, as well as get there's potential for training injuries, isn't there, as well? So just try and develop some agreed plans which include rest days and do other things which have intense periods throughout the year and maybe less intense. So it's okay to have a week off and go swimming for a week in Greece.
I've just had somebody comment in. I'll bring this up. Mark says he loved his morning run, and it was a nice off-road route, slogging about in the rain. So I guess that's turning into a very, very muddy. What inspires you, Mark, when you're going out for a run? Is it the camaraderie, or is it the effort? Is it a combination of both? Maybe it's a synergistic effect. I'd love to hear that from you. But welcome to the show as well. So yeah, just to say that we're talking about various experiences for us. What I came across recently was a new running initiative in the southeast of England, and I know various things have been tried before, but this one's called Running Space. And it's set up just outside of Bexhill in East Sussex, and Running Space is running to beat suicide. And I met the lass that has set it up. I've spoken with her, and hopefully she will come on a future live stream to talk about this. And she's just said the response has just been incredible by establishing something that deals with people with, say, the impact of suicide, whether they have gone through it in an attempt, or whether they are coping and trying to deal with it because they have somebody that they've known and loved that has passed away because of suicide. It's something about the running community, again, to bring them in, to have that meaningful activity and engaging with other runners. Now, of course, it's not easy. It's not just a case of, for many people, trying to turn up instantly and making best friends the next day. There was somebody in the videos, and I'll put the links in the description below this for the replay. Somebody in the videos that was interviewed, and she said, it took me months. I turned up to the cafe where they met month after month after month before I'd even said, can I come out for a run? And then she did, and she's in the program, and she was doing, in essence, a couch to 5K. And it's just to say that, we're going through lockdown. We know that mental health is at crisis point in the UK. We've all got tales. We all know people have gone through it, or we've gone through it ourselves, Simon. And the thing is, it's how do we deal with that is knowing that there are people out there trying to connect up with them, trying to get them the help that they may need. They may not know it, but getting them alongside other people that have been there, done that, getting them the help they need. So I think this is just a worthwhile thing to raise up. I'm sure it's just one of many clubs. It's just a great thing to hear that it's becoming very active. They've got groups in Hastings, Bexhill, Brighton, I think Shoreham as well. They're trying to establish in Eastbourne. So hopefully this will become a national phenomenon as well.
Good. No, I think that's brilliant.
So yes, so as we say, run, support, run. That was the emphasis of the show. Gentlemen, have you got any final thoughts, things that we hadn't talked about that are burning on your mind that you wanted to impart for the community?
None from me.
I just encourage people. We're facing another month, of challenges. Just try and for runners or couch to 5Kers, and it'll be for coaches out there or running leaders, and just to try and keep in touch with your groups and and encourage others, like you say, to buddy up and just to support one another through the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So that's my message, really, and to myself, because I'm not always like this. I do sometimes. I have Boris mania, thoughts.
You just need his haircut.
Who watched Spitting Image yesterday? Anyway, so I think that's to support one another and just try and stay fit. But we know how fitness, what we're saying about how a fit body can help the mind, the feedback loop, and just keep going, really. Duncan, what about you?
That's pretty much what I was going to say is, let's keep running, because it definitely will help us through, these next few weeks. And, again, as we've said earlier, if we can run with, as we're allowed, I think one other person, we can help each other to kind of get through this together. And, it will help both our fitness, but also, our mental health as well.
Absolutely.
So
Definitely.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for coming on this evening. And also thank you to our viewers. I'd just say as a parting word is that if you do go out for a run and you do see another runner, don't be intimidated. Just say hello, just wave. It doesn't matter if they don't respond, but just reaching out, you could just be doing something really magical in their lives. So don't be afraid. Do it. Even if they don't respond, do it, because you just don't know what the effects are. You plant seeds, they could grow into all sorts of wonderful massive trees. So please be safe. Hopefully we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time. Don't know quite what the subject's going to be, but hopefully it'll be another good one to talk about. So hopefully catch you next time on this Eastbourne parkrun live stream lockdown, going into
Part 2.
Part 2. Have a good week. Stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, and we'll catch you next.
Thanks a lot. Bye, everyone.
Bye.